Hello. Just thought a little bit. Hello, and happy Wednesday, the 20th, the official first day of spring. We will let a couple of people hop on here before I really dive into everything, because right now I'm just talking to myself. So it is Wednesday, the 20th, and I am going to fill this space with silliness, I guess. Let's see if I edit this out after it's recorded. So it looks like we've got someone watching now. Hello and welcome. I'm Meleah with Inner Perfect, and I do these energy updates every week at 7 o'clock. That's the schedule right now. That's hilarious. Somebody pop on and then they popped off. I have 8 card decks in front of me, and I'm going to do intuitive card pulls here in a little bit. That's going to be the focus of today's energy update. Hello, Robert Williams. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. And as I was just saying, I've got 8 card decks. I'm going to do intuitive card pulls this evening. We're going to kind of do a quick little rehash with eclipse season coming up. And we went over a lot of the astronomical stuff that is coming down the pipeline. We went over that last week. And if you missed that live or haven't seen that energy update, it should be under the live tab. And then also the I've organized everything. There's some playlists. So there's like energy updates, there's intuitive card pulls. So you can kind of look through the channel and see recorded videos as well. So, I don't know why I have 8 card decks out tonight, but I guess I just wanted to be a little extra and have a lot of options. So we'll see which ones I feel pulled to work with tonight. So, as you're probably aware, we are starting eclipse season. Eclipse season kicks off on the 25th of March, so in less than 5 days. And we will start off with a full moon lunar eclipse. And like I was talking about last week, this lunar eclipse is going to be in Libra if you use the Western astrology calculations, or it's going to be in Virgo with Vedic or sidereal calculations. And the eclipse is kind of opening up this portal gateway for the solar eclipse, which is coming on April 8th. So eclipses are an accelerated visual energetic experience with like a moon phase, right? It's like instead of waiting an entire month for the moon to start anew and then go all the way to full and then start to wane, we see it happen in just a mere few hours. Robert, you say you're a Libra. Cool. I'm a Libra too. So I'm rolling with Libra, right? But the Virgo energies are still kind of, present as well. So both are fine. But with the eclipse axis that we're on right now is Libra Aries. And so I feel like we are feeling these energies very strongly because the solar eclipse is going to be in Aries. So the equal opposite signs, Libra, Aries, equal opposite in the zodiac. Aries is, ruled by Mars. It's the fighter, it's the warrior. It's all of that projective energy. Libra is ruled by Venus. It is the soft, divine, feminine energy, the receptive, embodiment of the goddess of Venus, art, beauty, all of those things, right? And of course, one sign is not better than the other, but they are like equal opposites. So like opposites attract, but they can also clash too, right? So when we look at kind of like the archetypal relationship between Venus and Mars, with the divine feminine and the divine masculine, and that in partnership, we can look at that first and foremost within ourselves. We can look at those aspects that we have within us, the receptive and the projective, the I'm going to sit in stillness and be open to receive energy, or I'm going to go make this happen, right? Type energy. And and within ourselves, sometimes they can work cohesively, and we know kind of which energy to maybe apply to a certain situation, or what energy to kind of step into. But there can also be a conflict, right? An inner conflict if we're saying, oh, one is better than the other, or maybe we're using that projective divine masculine energy in a situation that where we really need to be like receiving. We need to be more in stillness. And I think I don't want to go on too much of a tangent because I'm excel at that. But the funny thing about receptive energy, divine feminine energy, which, like I said, no matter if you are a man or a woman or anything in between, we have this polarity within us, right? That maybe a more female um attribute, or something that would be more stereotypically like a feminine attribute, would be to be very oh, let's just say like a mom who's like running a household and taking care of everybody and doing all the things and juggling all the schedules and making sure that everybody else is getting stuff done. Okay. That is actually more of a divine masculine energy. That is more of a projective energy, right? You're keeping the troops in line. You are, keeping all of these things in order. You're getting things done. You're multitasking. So I'm not really trying to like lump anybody or anything into like gender roles. I'm not really doing that, but just using that as one example of like a million, for what someone could say, oh, well, that's more of a female thing, or I'm feeling very much in my feminine domestic goddess energy when I'm doing that. That's actually can very much be a more divine masculine energy, which is interesting. So if you're kind of confused just because of what you've learned, what society has told you, someone how someone is being, if they are, being in more of that projective energy or that receptive energy, masculine or feminine, um, you can see, just a quick check-in, like, what is my energy doing? Is it stillness or openness, waiting to receive, okay? Or is it projective like an arrow and I am going after something? And as you know, situations in your life, different scenarios, yes, those attributes, those actions or non-action may be better suited for, situation by situation, right? So, one is not stronger or weaker either. Like, if you struggle with meditation, or if that is not your forte, it may be extremely challenging to quiet your mind and to sit in stillness and to sit in that receptivity when we're working with our intuition and we are wanting to receive intuitive guidance, downloads, channeling, anything like that. That is the more divine feminine energy because it is sitting in stillness and emptiness, allowing yourself to be a vessel to receive that insight and information. So, anyway, a quick little overview with divine feminine, divine masculine energy. So, all of these things that I just mentioned, plus so many more things that I didn't mention, are kind of like the archetypal energies that are really coming more into the forefront with these two eclipses that we are preparing for. And with the lunar eclipse and the moon oftentimes being more of that divine feminine energy, it is receptive. It receives its light from the sun, and the sun is more solar, divine masculine energy. We see that again, right? Those kind of equal opposites. And so the moon gives us an opportunity to first and foremost kind of illuminate and shine light on maybe things that we are ready to let go of, move past from, the things that maybe we're still doing, but it doesn't really serve who we are or who we're kind of moving into. anything that is taking up space energetically, physically. So, of course, spring cleaning, right? What was I in the mood to do yesterday? Spring clean. I was deep cleaning my kitchen yesterday. So it is kind of like that airing out and clearing out, and really an enhanced and an accelerated energy with an eclipse on the 25th during the full moon, to then make room for maybe what energies we're ready to receive when this Aries season kicks off and we have the solar eclipse on the 8th, which will also be a new moon. Okay. So a fresh start. So pay attention to kind of what you're being uh, attracted to, drawn to, compelled to do, thinking about all of that during kind of this time. But then also maybe you could be a little more deliberate with your intentions, what you're wanting to bring in, what you're wanting to let go of. You can do journaling. You can do intuitive card pulls for yourself. Things may come through in your dreams. There are lots of ways to kind of tune in subconsciously, spiritually, for the things that you maybe need to let go of or you want to usher in. But then also, you could do a vision board. You could, like I said, journal and write down things to kind of really, direct yourself a little bit and direct your energies, because I feel like the energies are collectively a little chaotic right now. I swear it's always like a fantastic temperature gauge as to what is going on in the collective is how people are behaving when they are in their vehicles and when they're driving. And it seems like the last couple days, and hey, maybe I'm just out of it, but I don't think so. I think I try to be a conscious and defensive driver and like aware of my surroundings, but I've been honked at several times, and not like people saying, hey, people being like, F you. And I'm like, come on, you just look at the middle of the day. It's okay. Why are we in such a hurry? So there's a little bit of this like friction and like aggressive energy in it, and this chaotic kind of like things are getting stirred up type energy. And a lot of people, especially if you're not aware of it, they don't know how to handle that. They don't know how to process it. They just know they're kind of stressed out, right? Or they're feeling scattered. So if, when we talk about this astrological stuff and these energetic things, it's not like I know everything. I'm just sharing what I've researched, what I know, what I'm intuitively picking up on. But it does kind of help to get a little bit of insight into maybe the hows and the whys. And then also the ways that you can use it to your advantage to kind of maximize your experience with these energies, and maybe diffuse some energies that are going to upset you, stress you out, or that are just going to kind of disrupt this flow that we're trying to be in, right? So, yeah, hang in there, and I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of stuff just brewing, I guess, is what I feel. So I don't know if you're picking up on that or not, but all we can do is roll with it, right? So, any questions that you all have? Those of you who are watching, I'm gonna get a drink here. All right. Let's see. We did talk about Mercury retrograde last week too. I don't want to really like rehash that, but just know that we are definitely in the shadow period of Mercury retrograde right now, meaning you may already be kind of noticing maybe those Mercury retrograde things. It is still a good time to maybe do like maintenance on your vehicle, like, sort and order any like emails, kind of dot your I's and cross your T's to kind of prepare for maybe a little bit more of sluggishness when it comes to communication, getting from here to there, those types of things. So Mercury goes officially retrograde on the 1st of April, but we're already in the shadow period. It's getting close, so we're already feeling some of the effects of that. And it will be retrograde pretty much the month of April until the 25th. All right, so interesting month. So if you all don't have any questions, sorry, I like picked up a deck of cards. They're already starting to jump around. If you don't have any specific questions or input, I can go ahead and kind of move towards the intuitive card pulls. I feel like that there are some helpful messages that are waiting for all of us here, whether you're watching the video now on the live or if you're watching the replay. I shuffled all these cards, which, like I was saying at the beginning, is I have 8 decks, which are several. I don't know if I'm going to use all of them or not. But I have 2 Rider-Waite tarot card decks too, which is kind of fun to use both in a reading because it's really awesome when you get the same card out of 2 different decks, right? Decks that have been randomly shuffled and all of that. So that's always kind of a fun extra confirmation thing to get to. So we'll kind of see what cards I feel pulled to use. So kind of centering these readings first around the eclipses, this eclipse gateway that we are stepping into, and looking at the theme of maybe what the moon would help us release, what we would maybe receive insight or illumination on, maybe something that we have outgrown, whether it's in our awareness or not, right? You just might be feeling burnout. You might be feeling disenchanted. You might be feeling low energy. And sometimes that's just that you are bogged down with something. And it could be a relationship, it could be a situation at work, it could just be like accumulated physical things, in your environment. It could be accumulated worries or anxiety, anything like that. So let us ask first and foremost with this full moon eclipse, what we could perhaps identify some themes of what it is time to let go of, what we almost like have permission to let go of, right? We hold on to things out of obligation. We hold on to things out of, we're not even aware that we're doing it because we've just been doing it so long, but we very well might have outgrown that already, right? So let's see what, for the collective, it could be, an overarching energy that's just kind of applicable because we're all here on the same planet. We're all feeling these energies. And then for you as individuals, there may be something that kind of really sticks out in your mind, something that seems very significant and important to you because you felt drawn to either be, participating in the live or watching this video whenever. Okay. So let us see what we need to know, what we need to let go of, what is kind of clogging up, the energetic atmosphere pipeline that is kind of holding us back from a higher timeline, from our highest good. All right. So let's see what comes out. Jumping cards. Hold on a second. I'm not going to take it either because I feel like that's that chaotic energy. I just want to make sure I'm using all the cards in the deck. And I'm going to split once. And here we go. All right. So what's holding us back? Well, the 9 of Cups. The 9 of Cups and everything that you ever wanted. So this is how we're going to interpret this card. Okay, so the 9 of Cups, and he's sitting there surrounded by all of these cups. This cup is actually a very fortuitous card. This card sometimes is considered to be like a wish card, your wish granted. The potential of like your best life, and relationship, and it's like your cups are about to runneth over. You have almost all of them, right? And so how could this be a block? How could this be something that is taking up space that we need to clear out? Well, no, wishes are great. Having the potential, the ability to kind of daydream or dream up and be open to actually receiving that is fantastic. And I'm feeling that really what the block is either a sense of being kind of jaded, of being kind of tired of waiting. Like, would this actually ever happen? A little bit of a sense of not that you are not deserving of this wish fulfillment or a happy life, and to have, your dream relationship, your just fulfillment and happiness, like emotional satisfaction. It is saying, do you actually truly believe that you are deserving of that, AKA, are there um, old family patterns, um, wounding, anything like that, that is kind of like saying, yeah, that'd be nice, but that doesn't ever happen to me, or I don't think it would actually really happen because I haven't seen it happen so far. It's that doubt. That's really what I'm picking up on, is that what we need to let go of, because we can be our worst enemy. And there's another word that came to mind, but I'm not going to say it. And maybe I will eventually. And God, it seems like I think and maybe I'm just having deja vu that I said that. It's kind of funny. But just imagine a situation where something, and this something is you, or your mindset, or your disbelief, is getting in the way of your true happiness. And this is not like a blaming statement. This is not saying like, well, if you're miserable, it's your own fault. But it's kind of saying if you're miserable, it's your own fault. Just because maybe you received experiences, conditioning, false truths, whatever. Yes. I mean, we receive all of that, and it does shape who we are and what we believe and even what we experience so much. But if you have identified already those things that are, that at least shaped you and affected you maybe adversely or negatively, then identifying them is the start of, okay, I've identified them. I'm not actually the problem, or I kind of received this like crappy lot in life maybe, but it gave me that kind of experience. So then we move forward out of that energy if we don't want to experience it anymore. If you were completely clueless as to even the fact that you were maybe unfulfilled or miserable or unhappy, or as to why or how you got there, right? Or how you received those experiences. It could go back to childhood, it could go back to a past life, like whatever. But as soon as you identify it, then it is you, it is your responsibility to say, okay, if that doesn't work for me anymore, or I'm not satisfied, I'm not happy with this, or I want to have a different experience, then it's up to you to make it happen. And the first step in making that happen is saying, I'm not going to block myself. I'm not going to get in my own way. I'm not going to, have this negative internal monologue saying, I don't deserve this, or I'm never going to experience this, or all those things, right? So, yeah, get out of your own way. And if it means writing out affirmations or statements or making little memes or whatever to like save on your phone, post-it notes. I mean, it doesn't matter, to as a positive, encouraging, simple phrases that say, I am worthy, I am deserving, I am open to receive my best life. I am open to receive love and abundance and happiness, or whatever it is. Like, do that. It's not fake it till you make it, but it's kind of like the gentle encouraging until you really have it within yourself to rewrite, what you're telling yourself in your head, right? So don't block yourself. It's all right there. And the one thing that's standing out to me about this as well is he is like, all the cups are behind him. It's almost like the energy is, even if you're like, there's no way, I don't see anything stacking up, lining up, whatever. It's like, surprise, it's right there. It's like waiting for you. All you got to do is turn around, and it's like, oh my gosh, look at all this stuff. Look at everything, you know? So, yeah, maybe just look in a different direction too, is kind of what I'm getting. Like, if you're not seeing the signs or the indicators that things are kind of lining up to really work out for you, maybe look in a different direction as well. I'm not even saying look behind you like in the past, but maybe stop focusing so much on the can'ts and I don'ts, and maybe I am open to at least something different and something better. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else. Okay, I'm going to pull from the Spirit Song Tarot deck. I'm going to pull one more card to see if there's anything that either, clarifies the Nine of Cups or that will kind of build on that. Okay. So, anything else, any information that we need to know of how to get out of our own way, right? And how to, remove any energies, ideas, physical things, time killers, whatever it is to get that out of the way, so then we can kind of usher in this new higher timeline type energy very soon with the solar eclipse. So let's see if there's anything else that we need to know. Okay. Okay, so another 9. And this is 9 of Feathers, which is an air card. Okay. And in this deck, every card is like is more exemplified with an element and then with an animal. So we have the porcupine. No, there we go. Backwards camera. So 9 of Feathers. So I have 2 9s. We'll talk about the 9s in just a second. But the 9 of Feathers, especially with this deck, the key energies are it's all about perspective, and it is coming from an energy of being self-empowered. So, this little porcupine, she or he, they don't look absolutely menacing or huge. I mean, some porcupines, like those African ones, are huge. I'm not going to go on that out. I feel like I could go on a tangent about that too, but they can fend for themselves, and they can shoot their porcupine quills too. But she or he has all those quills are, down because she's not in a defensive posture. She's not having to protect herself. But if the need arose to protect herself, just by sheer reputation, a predator or like an animal or a human may be like, I'm not going to get too close, right? But if she needed to protect herself, she has everything she needs. She's literally carrying it on her back as part of her body. And so this is also carrying an energy of being empowered. Like, you are good enough. You are deserving. You are empowered. You are powerful. You are truly able to live the life that you want and experience the life that you want, even if you have not experienced it even in one drop up until this point. But I can guarantee you that you have had some good experiences, right? It just might be like the negative stuff is really what you're focusing on right now, because maybe it's all up in your face and dragging you down, and it's really hard to be positive. But you do have some positive experiences or things that you admire, even in other people's lives. You're like, I want that. I deserve that too. I want to experience that. So you could use that as a focal point for kind of like pulling you out of that stagnation or that stuck energy for inspiration too. And this is about perspective. This is saying perspective, right? Oh my gosh, this it's not backwards, but it's how it is. So I'm like, which way is my hand going? Perspective, he's sitting here and all the cups are behind him. He's not, it's like, oh my gosh, everything's about to come together. But he doesn't see it yet, right? You're waiting. You don't see it yet completely crystallized, right? And this perspective is things could seem, if there is loss, if you're letting go of something, it could just be like, oh my gosh, I lost something bad happened, right? It could even be like a job or a relationship, and you're like, why is this ending? Or why did it end? Or I'm feeling that it's ending, but that's sad, right? I want to mourn this. This feels like I'm having to let go of something. But when you let go and you make room for, even in that pause, then something better can come in. So I'm not saying just to like leave a job or end a relationship or sever ties with someone or situation just because, but obviously, if it's something that is like, this is not healthy, this is toxic, I feel horrible, this isn't supporting me as a person, I don't even feel like myself, whatever it is, right, what those things are. And so it is kind of killing you softly. It is it is a toxic thing in your life that is probably not going to get better. It's just going to bring you down more. So that's why when you release those things, and it could even be negative self-talk, right? But when you release those things, then it makes way and room for those new things to come in. And addressing the nines now, double nines, nine is saying we are very close to the ending of the cycle. Some people say, well, and then 10 is the wish granted. You have everything you want, you need, you have full perspective, understandings, full picture. You understand the whole completion of the mission, the experience, but you're getting really close. It hasn't crystallized yet. It hasn't fully manifested yet, but you still may be getting like little signs and indicators that yes, it's coming together, or I can see kind of what's on the other side of that. And when we get to the number 10, well, in numerology, 10 is 1 plus 0, which is 1. It is already the new start, because once you've ended, well, I mean, what's next? Well, it's a new thing. It's a new chapter, right? So 9 really is closing out and the ending of something. And it can be an experience, it can be a lesson, it can be a theme, a season, whatever it is. But that's really where we're going. And so, yeah, you may mourn that. You may have a time of kind of grieving that, or saying, wow, like I wish this could have gone differently, but you are where you are. And so it's just saying, okay, let's wrap it up and be ready for what is next. All right. Okay. So I'm going to put those over here. So I would like to ask now for the collective, for anyone watching this, what are we ushering in? What is the new energy that we are calling in, that we can be open and receptive to, as a planet, as a collective, but then seeing that mirrored and more personally realized in our own lives. So what's coming? What's around the corner? Okay. So let me go with the other Rider-Waite. And this is my holographic Rider-Waite. Took me a while to shuffle all of these before the live, but I still want to shuffle them just a few more times with that kind of more specific intention and question. So what is coming down the pipeline? And sometimes, it's like, not knowing can be so scary, right? Or just saying like, yeah, but what if it's not what I really wanted? Or, what if it's worse? I promise you, something fresh and new versus the old patterns or toxic stuff that you're just like repeating the same energies over and over again. Like, it's going to be better. Number one, we just get very comfortable with the old energies, even if they're not good for us, right? But let's see. Like I said, with kind of getting a little glimpse, sometimes that is inspiring. We're like, okay, I'm going to try one more time. Even if you feel like you have tried so many times and you're like, am I ever going to get, a fresh start or like a different experience? Well, when you say that you are truly open to that and you're not just saying, yeah, well, I guess I'm open to it, but it's probably just going to be the same thing, then you're kind of putting that expectation out there, and it actually kind of bottlenecks what can even come towards you if you're putting almost like those like limitations or conditions on it. So let's see what is coming through. All right, we have 3 of Pentacles. This always, I just noticed dude standing on like a bench. It's funny. Okay. So this has a collaborative energy to it. Okay. I'm going to build on this before, I'm going to pull 2 out of this deck. Before we go through, I feel like this is kind of like a cohesive energy here that we're building on. No. Oh, yeah. Okay. I was like, no, wait, how did I do this? Okay. So this is the holographic tarot. Look at it. Just came out again. 9 of Cups again. Look. Same card. Yes. Okay. Hold on. Let's see what else. One more. 3, 9. That'd be cool if you got a 6. 3, 6, 9 is pretty magical. Hold on. I'm not gonna put that intention in there. I'm just gonna see what comes out. I'm shuffling. I'm not looking, I promise. And then we have 8 of Cups. Okay. Oh my God. There we go. Okay. So we have 3 of Pentacles. We have 9 of Cups again. And then we have 8 of Cups. And the thing about 8 of Cups is, yeah, that's 8 of Cups. So 8 of Cups, he's like not, he's kind of walking away from, or kind of seeing what else is out there. Okay. Um, he is off looking towards, out kind of into the world. We see the sun and the moon, the duality here in this card too. And I think it's almost like the potential here. This is 8 of Cups. He's almost like he's like the ninth, walking to the ninth cup. Okay. We already discussed what 9 of Cups was. So, what I'm really feeling about these 3 cards together, Pentacles is more of, has to do with our health, but it also has to do with our earthly abundance. Okay. Pentacles are like shields or like discs. And so I feel like, what is kind of lining up is that, yes, for sure, when we remove the doubt in the first pull of kind of being able to have access to this is what is on the horizon. This is coming. I feel like this 3 energy is also saying that you need to accept an awareness that not only are you that duality of divine feminine, divine masculine, or God, goddess, whatever it is, within yourself. But then when those two kind of find union, that you have that spiritual vehicle in which to tap in, like, to your higher self. So, the feeling that I'm really strongly getting about this right now is that when you are moving through life in any way with the filter or the vantage point more of ego. And I don't mean like being egotistical necessarily, but with ego as in, how you make your decisions, how you relate to people, how you navigate through life, being driven by more like fear. This happened in the past, and so it's more than likely going to happen in the future. Pessimism, something like that. When we think that we, as a human, although humans are fantastic, and this is a really unique experience that we're all having in our lives, right? I mean, it has a lot of value. But when we think that the human brain and the human opinions is the highest form of knowledge, that's not correct. We are in tandem, a human being. We're in the physical. We have human emotions and experiences, and everything's, tangible and all this stuff. But we have a soul spark. We have this spiritual aspect to us that is like coexisting within our physical self too. So you are a special, unique human. This alchemy of everything, and your life is just very, very unique to you, not only because of all the things that have just happened in your life, and that's like the formula, but it's like just even your viewpoint or experience of that, right? But then you still have a higher self. You are the universe experiencing itself through your vessel. And so when you're like cut off from that, or you're like, I don't know which way to turn, I don't know what the right step is, I don't know if I can, I was going to say trust myself. Like that's what was wanting to come through. Well, yeah, maybe you don't need to trust yourself if you're just listening to your ego, but your higher self, that sense, that aspect of universe has the bird's eye view, has all the experiences ever that has ever happened, that will ever happen, because it's like everything. And so that's where we tune in to maybe receive divine guidance for that bird's eye view of how can I be less jaded? How can I be open to receive what I am deserving to experience in this lifetime if I have just received nothing but, broken heart and like, stuff not working out or, loss, whatever it is. So I feel um that when you acknowledge that you're kind of a cohesive unit with the universe that has been gifted this human experience, but that you're not cut off from. You do have access to help, to guidance, to, what's the next step, or give me some peace here, to be able to walk towards the next step without fear, with openness. That you have wisdom, but it's not the ego. You have access to that though. And this Eight of Cups, I feel like this is saying that this is a choice point, that you could choose to repeat patterns or energies in this next chapter that is being offered to you, that you could choose, well, I just want to stay safe. I'm more comfortable with being uncomfortable because that's what I know. You can choose that. You're not being told you have to do anything. It's your choice. But now that you kind of like know what potentials there are, and like true, very viable potentials, where I have two completely different decks and I pulled both of these cards out. This is like, what do you want? What are your desires? Speak them, feel them, believe them, even for a few moments, and they are possible. That they are accessible. They are there, just waiting to come into your life when you kind of free up a little space. Then, if you know that, and you know that your higher self, like your higher self, is yourself, and you kind of like chose to be here and have these experiences, right? You're not alone. You're not cut off. Then, if you're like, yeah, I'm not ready yet. Maybe the timing isn't right. I'm just gonna put it off a little bit. That's okay. That's your choice. But you are kind of putting off your own happiness, if that makes sense. Okay. Let me let me pull one of these cards. These are Sacred Traveler. These are Sacred Traveler. It's an oracle deck. Let me see what else comes out to either clarify these three cards about what is coming in. I feel like this was, I think it was clear, but I would like, these cards can be a little more concise because they're an oracle deck and there aren't as many cards, if that makes sense. We'll see. Maybe we'll get something really nebulous, but let us see how we can kind of clarify and cohesively pull these three cards together for what we can anticipate. What is being offered to come in through this energetic gateway, through the solar eclipse. Okay. Okay. This card says reaching your destination. Your light is shining brightly. I see a castle floating in a bubble and a butterfly. This is very much like a wish. This is wishing card. This is your that's what you should expect. If you're wanting something, if you're wishing for something, if you're wanting to experience something in your life, that is what is coming. But if you're like, well, it didn't show up, and it's like, well, check your attitude. you know, how how did you position yourself to be open to receive it? If you're like, oh, but I can't let anything go, I gotta hold on to all the stuff that I've accumulated my whole life. And there's no room in the well for this to come in. We let go, we make room for it, and then we are receiving, right? um yeah, so uh good. So I've noticed you guys have just commented. Angela says these reads are always online for me. Good, I'm glad to hear that. That helps, that resonates with you. And then Robert Williams says, sounds like a fork in the road, time to take the road less traveled. Yeah, it is always like the phrase choose your own adventure just keeps coming up over and over and over again. um as far as what comes out of my mouth when I'm doing this kind of stuff lately. And it is, you can always choose. It's not like I'm saying or the universe or anything is saying like, well, you have to do this. Uh, you could, and receive a different experience, or you could not, right? But just like I was saying, kind of at the beginning, that if you have the awareness, the understanding at least of how you got to where you're at now, or maybe how, the family dynamics that you were born into, or kind of some things that you learned from a previous relationship, or an experience, on a job, or whatever it is. And you're like, whoa, like I didn't like that, or that, was very troubling. It was very difficult. It was all the things, right? If you identified it, then it is your responsibility from this point forward to do something about it. And it doesn't mean that you're even on your own. You're not on your own. You are surrounded by others, supportive people. And it could be saying, well, the next step is for me to ask for help. It's like go to therapy. Or the next step is, I don't want to do this on my own anymore. I want to, have partnership. I want to have a friend. I want to, see if I can collaborate with somebody. Right. So you can choose. You are always empowered to choose, either to choose to not make a choice, or the decision to, to choose something different, or whatever it is. Um, but whenever you see butterflies, or whenever I see butterflies, there is always it's that hope of transformation. You're getting ready to emerge out of the chrysalis. You're not a little caterpillar. You're not just, baking in that little chrysalis, or that little cocoon. You are getting ready to emerge. And uh you can't stay you also cannot stay in the chrysalis forever. It is time to emerge. But when you do, and you spread your wings and you have transformed, it is a whole new world. It is completely, it could be something completely different than you've ever experienced in your entire life, but why not? Right? Why not? Don't knock it till you try it. Okay. That does not apply in all situations. All right, let me see what animal energy is here to support these messages here. I am using Divine Animals Oracle. Let's see what is going to support this message or build on it. With what do we need to let go of? How can we get out of our own way? And what we can anticipate coming through this solar eclipse gateway in April. Or at least being ushered in, right? The peacock. Nice. All right. So, and as I look at this card too, as we know, like this is a male peacock, more than likely on this card. Peacocks, in their whole mating dance, right, are like fanning out their feathers and, showing, their radiance, their beauty, to attract a mate, right? And so what is standing out to me though too is this dot here on her eye that is right at the third eye. And of course the peacock has all the eyes on the end of their tail. And so I feel that this is kind of ushering in two different but supportive messages. Number one, this is time for you to be more intuitive. This is time for you to trust your intuitive self more. When we are locked in ego and we are locked in that very rational or sometimes very irrational way of looking at things, that is just kind of like we have blinders when that is the only way that we are accessing our entire life. Yes, there are certain situations that is very, very much called for. It is very appropriate perspective or way of navigating through the world. But if you are here to have a more expanded experience and be like, yes, I want to be human. I want to be animal. I want to feel all the feels. I want to have all this like tangible, these physical experiences and how my emotions help me really understand that. Yes, be human and that's beautiful. But then also be open to that intuitive guidance, and kind of working in tandem with the universe, with your higher self, to maximize your experience here. That's what I'm getting. And I also feel that, to me, with this card, and I'm not going to read the oracle, the guidebook. I just want to go with kind of what I'm feeling here. Is that there is a coming into, like, holding your head up high, being proud of who you are, you know, to where you are in this very moment. Like, everything that you've experienced that has led up to who you are now, you can be proud of that. You can, also, um, like, you have wisdom and experience to also, if you truly, like, believe it about yourself, share your story with other people, because that helps other people step into, their path, into their power. And I mean, like, being empowered, right? And it's kind of like, it's not a competition. And it's not saying, oh, there's one thing that just comes through too. So, and I'm not saying that anybody here is listening to this, whoever's doing it, but just kind of be cautious of this. Or if you observe it out with other people, you can just give them a little bit of grace, but don't repeat this pattern. But you don't get extra points for having a shitty childhood. You do not get extra points for, you know, being in a relationship with a douchebag for 5 years. I'm not saying that any of those things, those traumas or negative experiences, aren't important, have not been, like, formative, haven't really affected you or anything. I'm not saying that. I'm not discounting anything that you've experienced. But what I'm saying is, if you or someone has been in that, like, victim mentality, to where they're choosing to either focus on their negative experiences, um, and have almost, like, taken that on as an identity, that is a way of understanding it, but you stay stuck in that, if that makes sense. And so, we don't want to, we can acknowledge and understand that perhaps we were a victim of something, right? But again, that's like, once you identified it, then you say, okay, so how am I going to heal this? How am I going to ask for help? How am I going to, if I don't want to repeat this, what other steps am I going to take? What direction am I going to take now? Because then it's just kind of like, we're just kind of spinning around and digging ourselves into a deep rut if we just stay on that kind of victim cycle. So, for anyone who has experienced anything that is hurtful, negative, traumatizing, anything, like I said, I'm not minimizing what you have been through, but I'm saying it's not who you are. Uh, it's not. And so, who you are is someone who says, yes, I have experienced the depths. I understand what these negative things are. I have felt them viscerally in my life. And I am the person that I am right now with this perspective and this understanding because of those things. But I now want to experience something that is expansive and different and, loving and joyful. And then you get the full picture, the full experience of what that is, right? If you experience something that caused you fear, well, you want to also have other experiences your lifetime where you feel freedom and you feel expansion and you feel joy, right? So, um, I'm not I'm not exactly sure how that came out with the peacock. Oh, competition. That's what it was. So, yes. So, that's how that kind of bridged, was because you holding your head up high and saying, wow, look where I am, and I understand it, and I'm excited about life, and I am deserving of these wonderful experiences or new experiences, or to have it all, whatever it is. Like, everybody is. And so don't see, like, oh, well, that person over there had a harder life than me, yet I'm feeling really bad. So, I mean, they deserve it more than I do. Or they've had an easy life. They don't really deserve to be happy. I've been miserable. I deserve it more. Like, no, we're not freaking competing. We are not competing. Everybody doing great and, vibing high is a win-win. So we're not competing. So you see somebody strutting their stuff, you see somebody celebrating, like, be like, yeah, go you. I'm going to applaud you for a minute and I'm going to, have that as inspiration to also live my best life as well. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else that needs to come through. I have some goddess cards. I don't think I've ever used these during a live. These are absolutely beautiful cards. These are divine feminine goddess cards from many, many, many different kind of belief systems, mythologies, and practices. And so let's see if there's any other information that is going to be helpful, cohesive, or something that hasn't really come up yet. Maybe an energy that is maybe something to kind of bolster, us through this eclipse gateway, or something that is inspirational or healing, right? So what else do we need to know? Okay. I saw this earlier when I was shuffling. Let's see. Oops. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, there we go. Such a beautiful card. This is Isis and Osiris. Okay. You see? All right. So these cards do beautiful artwork, but there is a write-up on the back. I'm just going to read a little bit that is on the back. Of course, Isis and Osiris are from Egyptian mythology. It says in ancient Egypt, Isis was among the oldest of the goddesses, the mother and the giver of all life. She is a moon goddess, and she gave birth to the sun, sun, right? We've seen that repeated in other mythologies as well. She creates and sustains all life and is the savior of all people. She is also a teacher of agriculture, and she is the goddess of medicine and wisdom. So, as the Egyptians loved to do, Osiris was her brother and her husband. When Osiris was murdered by his brother Set, Isis searched for and found him. She revived him and conceived their son, Horus. When Set again took Osiris and scattered his body in 14 pieces, Isis hunted each piece except for his reproductive organs, which she was unable to locate, in order to give each piece a proper burial. So, um, we'll dig into that in a minute. I feel like there's a message there. So this is, to me, this is almost like the cycle of birth, of life, and all the things that encompass that, death, and then saying, Isis wasn't like, oh, he's gone now, so bye. I mean, it was like, okay, then I'm going to revive him. There's this like constant, like kind of rechurning of energy. And to me, this is saying that you yourself, perhaps just being open to the concept or the idea, you yourself have experienced a multitude of births, lives, deaths, not only in your own life now, okay, here in 2024, but in other versions of you. And whether that is through like reincarnation, past lives, parallel timelines, whatever it is, or just as the universe experiencing itself through these multiple facets, AKA human beings, it is just like this regenerating energy, right? Energy is neither created nor destroyed. It is just kind of a reconfiguring and saying, oh, what about this potential? What about this possibility? What about this perspective, right? And the more that happens, whether in your own human life or in multiple lifetimes, or as the big picture of the universe experiencing itself through the human experience, and then all the other experiences out there, right, too, that you get more, more of the full picture, as more experiences go on. And so looking at the nines again, too, here, 9, 9, 9. Okay. Any more nines? No. Okay. Oh my gosh, spinning cards. Looking at all these nines as well is, yes, an ending is just part of the process. And sometimes endings can be really hard and really, you know, we mourn them, or we might just be like, I thank God, it's finally done, right? I'm washing my hands of this and I'm ready for something new. All endings don't have to be hard. But with an ending always comes a new beginning. And it's probably not the only last new beginning you're ever going to have, right? So, when you can kind of synthesize these lessons from an experience, a season, a chapter that is kind of winding down, or that you're ready to kind of wrap up, when we kind of seal that with gratitude, at least for the experience, even if we are not really super happy about all, the things, if there were negative things with that, we're like, wow, that was an experience, and I had it, and I do have an understanding of what that experience is. Then we can usher in something that either, if we're just like, okay, cool, I'm okay to repeat, then we receive something else that is a repeat of that pattern. Maybe it's like a slightly different angle, and we're like, oh, I really understand it now. So now the lesson's done. Okay, that's how we get kind of repeat patterns, until we believe that we've learned it all, or that we aren't deserving of repeating a pattern. Then we just might do it over and over again. Um, but then too, when I'm like, okay, I am grateful for, I've kind of integrated that experience. Now I'd like to experience either something completely different, a different life experience, or something that helps me understand this in a more whole picture, but from a completely different viewpoint, vantage point. And so I'm like, that's the valley. This is the peak, right? So it's really just kind of up to you, like how much you want to understand a concept, or a part of the human experience, right? And I think it is a bit comforting that that there is a bit of this cycle, right? This is not like the last eclipse season we're ever going to have. It's not the last full moon or the last solar eclipse that we're ever going to have, right? Maybe for some people in this lifetime, but in general, we're going to have other things coming along. So when you're letting go of things in your life, or you're saying, I'm done with this lesson or this chapter, when we bless it with gratitude, then it kind of like it kind of crystallizes into more understanding as well. But then also says, I'm done. Now I'm ready for something different. It is an energy shift as well, if that makes sense. So let's see. Is there anything else? Any questions that anybody has? That's watching the live. Somebody asked election stuff during a couple lives ago. I have a bunch of cards. I don't know. Just don't even know about that. I don't really want to ask about that, but I can. If somebody wants me to ask about that. I feel like that there are so many storylines going on right now that who knows? That's what I'm saying. But any questions, comments? All right. I'm going to see if there's anything else that we need to know before we close out here. What's going to bring it all together? It's going to bring it all together. All right. King of Pentacles. I feel like that what this is confirming, what this is supporting, is that you are deserving of your best life. You are deserving to be well fed and nurtured and protected and taken care of on the physical level. Surrounded by like sustenance and happiness and the fruits of your labor, that he's got an abundance of everything. This is the last of the Pentacles here. This is the King of Pentacles. And so I feel like perhaps some of you don't think that you are deserving, or maybe it's not accessible to you in this lifetime. Okay. to have the financial abundance or the abundance of things to make you feel safe and happy and healthy and wealthy, okay, around you. But I also get from this card too is that there's a little bit of a reminder that we are in the energy of revaluing what is important. What has value is what I mean. So, whereas we may have been, well, we sure as hell have been told growing up, society, government, parents, religion, all that stuff. Um, and hello, thank you, Stephanie. Thank you for hanging out with us. You can watch the rest of the video too once it's it'll be off the live and then reposted too. I'm glad you stopped by. Um, so as we are, we've received all of this information, all of this conditioning, whatever it is about like what's important, what the American dream is, what it is to be a good human or a successful human, all of that. I mean, some of those things are true, and like as far as like what could make you happy or make you feel successful or like your needs are met or whatever, right? But you yourself are responsible for or given the opportunity to say, yeah, but what's really important to me? What did I come here to experience? What did I come here to say? This is important. This makes me feel fulfilled and happy and healthy and wealthy and all of that. And it could just be having a bunch of baby goats around you. It might not be having like a Lamborghini and like, 5 vacation villas and, a pile of money or whatever it is. Maybe it is. I'm not really sure. We all have our own value system, what's important. But, when we look at abundance and all the things around us that we're like, wow, there's more than enough. There's more than I could ever use. I can share, this too. Abundance just means a lot of something, right? And, we want to have the stuff that empowers us to live our best life, not just a bunch of stuff that is taking up space and weighing us down, right? So what you maybe have been told or you learned or believed was important or valuable, maybe doesn't really matter, right? It's just uh, the hill of beans thing is what's coming to mind, right? So do a little check-in with what is valuable to you, what it means to you to be abundant, to be successful, and to be happy and healthy and wealthy and wise. And you might be like, well, I'm still doing that, or I'm still doing the thing and working in this career or trying to, build this or amass this or whatever. But you're like, I don't really fucking care about that. It doesn't matter. And if it doesn't matter to you, then like, don't do it. And unless you're trying to like, I don't know, learn something, to keep doing something, going on that hamster wheel that you hate, but you could do it anyway. I don't know what it is. So yes, look at your value system on what is really important to you and let go of the stuff as much as you can that doesn't amount to a hill of beans. That's what the analogy is. That does not amount to a hill of beans for you and you only. You're living your life, right? And also like just like I love it when I get on a soapbox. When I'm channeling a soapbox, I was going to say and go ahead and just give the middle finger to, anybody else, especially like those that think they're in charge that say, oh, no, no, be a good little human and keep doing this stuff because that's what important when you're like, no, it's not. It's not important. That's not what is going to give me a healthy, happy, abundant life, right? Like as soon as you're like, oh no, this is truly what's important instead of what I've been told is important that really isn't important. Then that's how you fully like step into your power. You reclaim your power. You're like, I'm the captain of my own ship. I am living my life for me because that's what I came here to do. So yeah. So that was interesting. That was good. I appreciate y'all joining me tonight. And I hope you have a fantastic start to spring, a wonderful lunar eclipse on the 25th. And I will talk to you all next Wednesday before the solar eclipse, too. So we will see what shows up on the spiritual agenda for the solar eclipse, too. So I will see you all Eastern Standard Time at 7 o'clock next Wednesday. And I will also be posting another guided meditation video either tomorrow night or the next day, because I record those on Thursday nights. Still working on the audio and stuff a bit. I'm not like a voice audio music producer, and I'm using like Audibly or something like that, like I'm not in like a soundproof room. But anyway, we're going with it. There are some, basically the kind of the first intro part to the guided meditations I'm doing live on Thursdays. I put those on YouTube. Then I put the whole one on my Patreon too. So anywho, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Hope you guys have a great evening, and I will see you soon. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.